Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and night, wherever you are. You are now listening to GregTalkz. My name is Greg. I am 19 years old, and I am currently a student at community college. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was how to get the most out of your creativity and tackling the issue of people saying that they aren't artists. So, this is a question, or not really a question, but a statement. A lot of people say that, oh, I can only draw stick figures, so that makes me a bad artist, or I wish I could write music, but I don't know how to play the piano, or I don't know how to conceptualize like a piece of music. And both of those things aren't necessarily true. I mean, of course, there are fundamentals to becoming good at such things. However, for people to say that they aren't creative, I think is a lot of bull crap, because they are creative and you are creative. The one key to getting the most out of your creativity is that you just have to basically forget about the notion of judgment. You must basically, just go with the flow with whatever you're trying to create, though, and stop worrying so much about, oh, this doesn't look as good as another person's. Oh, I'll never be as good as this person because they were able to do this so much faster. No, forget about that. Once you forget about it, I swear that your art will take off, but you have to be willing to set aside um, these biases of yourself and just literally just put stuff down on paper. I know for me, when it came to my old YouTube videos, my first YouTube video, it took me so long to create just because I would keep procrastinating and keep thinking about, oh, well, I don't know how to edit, or I don't know how to have a good script and things of that nature. And it wasn't until I actually just wrote up something and then just started learning how to edit and just said, you know what, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop playing around and actually do this. And then once I did it, a video actually came to fruition, and that video was, for those of you who have watched it, was the Kill la Kill behind the animation video, or was basically giving my review slash analysis of Kill la Kill. Most of you that have seen that, of course, know that it's pretty sloppily put together, but it was my first piece of work, and it's something I'm still very proud of, because that was something I took a risk and I put it out there, and it got, it got good reception based on a first video basis. I don't know how it's doing right now. I know it got a few hundred views, which is low, but hey, people did watch it, and that's what matters. And that's the mentality that you have to have when it comes to creativity. I mean, when you think about you know, old school artists or manga artists, for instance, and you know how detailed the manga art is, do you really think that they didn't have the same thoughts that you have about being judged, or oh, the fact that Akira Toriyama, the author of Dragon Ball, his art is so good, or Naruto, the author of that, which is Masashi Kishimoto, did you really think that they didn't think about the fact that their art was going to be judged or compared to their contemporaries? Of course they did. It's a human thing, but they essentially just said, I want to make this story that I don't think people have had a chance to experience yet, and I want to put this down on paper, and I want to put my perspective on it and share it with the world. And once they did that, it turned into a phenomenon. Yes, it took a lot of hard work, it took a lot of work ethic, but they still accomplished it. And I would definitely challenge you, whatever you want to do creatively, just literally do it, because no one's going to basically tell you that except for yourself, or no one's going to be able to make you do it except for you. And I would hope that you wouldn't want to be, years down the line saying that, oh, I wish I would have done that, because, at least even if it didn't turn out well, I would have been proud of the fact that I had the courage to put that out there into the world and share it, because somebody is going to be impacted by it, no matter how they see it. And that kind of brings me into my next point about knowing your own value. Now, this one is a pretty important one to me because throughout school, like there were times where um, when I was working on certain projects and with school and everything, like I would value myself less in the group because I didn't think I was bringing that much to the table, or I didn't really have as much influence in terms of what was being created. And that absolutely just wasn't true because I did bring something to the table, and what I was saying mattered to the overall scope of the project. And nowadays, like, I value myself very highly, and I think I do have a lot of power. I think my voice has a lot of power, and I think what I do and the people I interact with, I think there's like a lot of power within that. And I think today, I think I don't. I think a lot of people don't value themselves, or don't think they have as much power and as they realize, because, like I mentioned before, everything you say, it impacts somebody. Um, Everything you write down on paper, is going to be read by somebody else and is going to change their way of thinking. And like I said, your artwork, there's power because it's your voice. Every human perspective is a unique one in its own special way. I feel like we need to definitely motivate each other more to speaking out about things that we care about and that we feel need to be exposed to the overall world, because I think there's a lack of that, especially with social media. Like on social media, I feel like everybody, there's so much pressure to basically stand out. But at the same token, that affects your self esteem and how much you value yourself, though, because, you're doing all this stuff for other people instead of doing it for yourself. If you actually focus within on yourself, you will stand out so much more because it is you. Because when you're doing things for other people, or when you're basically putting your own value in within the value of others, then you're in turn going to value yourself less, because you're putting more stock into what other people want. And over time, it's just going to break you down and down until, like, there's nothing left. And I don't want that. I know you don't want that. So you must practice on essentially doing what you want to do and doing what you're passionate about and speaking on what you want to speak about. Don't let anybody ever tell you what to not speak about and what to do, because they're not you. They don't have no power over you unless you let them. And once you relinquish the power other people have over you, your power will skyrocket, and nobody will be able to suppress that except for yourself. Now, of course, there is a fine line between having so much, valuing yourself so highly that you think yourself above others. And then there's, of course, valuing yourself so low that you don't matter at all. You kind of want to have a fine balance in between, to where, yes, I hold myself to a certain standard in this messed up world, but I also, like, will never put myself so low to the point where I feel like I don't matter. So that's all I really want to say on that. I think that's a very important thing, valuing yourself and holding yourself to certain standards and not letting other people determine what you are going to do and what you are destined to do. So here's that. Getting into an artist that most people know actually now, Kendrick Lamar. Obviously, most of you probably heard of him, or like got wind of him through his recent album, which it's been a while. He put it out like in 2017. It was titled Damn. Everybody knows the song Humble. But I'm not really going to delve into that album. I really want to talk about a specific song called Mortal Man on Kendrick Lamar's junior. Yeah, that was his third album. His junior album, which was How to Pimp a Butterfly. And the relevance of the conversation that Kendrick was having with Tupac and also what he was speaking about in the song. So the song kind of essentially starts out with Kendrick asking his fans that will you stick with me when things get tough? Because a prophet is only as strong as his followers. And that really spoke to me because I mean there were a lot of there's been a lot of great leaders in the world though, but um every leader has had people that have come to the realization of, do I want to follow this person to the end, or am I going to basically leave them because I'm too afraid that what they're doing is going to be bad for you know the the people that are following them, or it's going to be bad for me. So it's really powerful because, like, when you think about it, every person of influence is only, like I said, only as strong as the people that support them. Once people stop supporting you, you lose a lot of your power, except for the power within yourself. So he was speaking on that, and then he was speaking on people like Michael Jackson and Martin Luther King and Moses and Jesus, um, all kind of figures that like were held to a very high standard. And don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing Michael Jackson to Jesus or Moses, but there are people that saw Michael Jackson like on some like a holy level of he cannot be touched and things like that. And he was speaking on the allegation against Michael and saying like, oh, like, do you think that he did those actions? Do you really believe that, or are you now becoming a skeptic only after years of being a fan of this man? I mean, it really says a lot about you to say that you're becoming a skeptic right now when you really believed in him as a person. And don't people can do bad things, of course, though, but you know, for it to be somebody like for you to like switch up like that, it just speaks to how people are very fickle when it comes to who they're going to get behind. Um, and this can really relate to politics, but I'm not going to get into politics. And then later on in the song, he kind of gets to talking with Tupac, or not really Tupac, but well, yeah, it is Tupac. So Kendrick basically got a hold of a recorded interview that Tupac was doing with a guy. I think it was in Germany, but I could be wrong. And he was speaking with a guy, and basically Kendrick was in the place of the interviewer, and he was asking Tupac about the state of the world and how basically the poor people and the dynamic between the poor people and the rich. And he was saying like how the poor people are essentially gonna swallow up the rich because the rich will essentially get super fat and not want to do anything, and the poor will be so fed up with the fact that nothing is being done to better their situation that they're just going to essentially rise up against the rich. And keep this in mind that the whole aspect of the album was how to pimp a butterfly. The original title of Kendrick's album was How to Pimp a Caterpillar, which spells out Tupac. Hence why Mortal Man, in the last song of the album, ends with Tupac to Pimp a Caterpillar. But really intriguing because, of course, we all know that, like the poor people, in my opinion, they represent the caterpillar, or this can even be related to the black man, and how the black man essentially is a caterpillar, and it isn't until he wakes up to the fact of what America is doing to marginalized groups of people that you turn into the butterfly and spread wings of change, hence the butterfly effect. Um, and I think that's really powerful because me, being the type of guy that I am, I want to basically be able to affect change positively. amongst my communities, and not just community, of course, the world, though. I feel like I'm still in my cocoon and I'm still like coming out into what I need to become in order to spread wings of change. I mean, I feel like the rapper that recently died, Nipsey Hussle, like he was a great representation of what Kendrick was talking about in that song, how like he used a caterpillar and he became the butterfly. However, his wings were clipped. So he never really, his potential to spread and make change was cut short. However, in a way, it wasn't, because they're still affecting change today. And even after his death, and in the future, it will still affect people and it will spur other butterflies to flourish. So, that's really the things that I liked about the song. I would definitely recommend you go and check it out. It's on Kendrick Lamar's 2015 album, To Pimp a Butterfly. Uh, yeah, I feel like it's a really iconic song, so I would definitely check it out. The next thing I want to get into is one of my personal favorite values, which is being open to growth. Of course, you may be asking, why is this my favorite value? Well, I believe that being open to growth is important because if you cannot be open to new experiences and different people's perspectives, then I do not believe that you will ever grow as a person. Yeah, that may sound a little harsh, but there's a lot of truth to that, because think about it. If, say that you got accepted to go to a college out of state, and you also got accepted to go to a school in your hometown, and you choose to stay at the school in your hometown, well, one thing will happen. Well, actually, two things will happen. One thing, that you're not really growing because you chose to stay in your comfort zone. And at the same token, you're staying sheltered, which means that you're not really getting other opinions from other people that might be foreigners or people that live in other states, because all you know is where you come from. And yeah, you may feel safe where you come from, but at the same time, you're never going to learn and you're never going to truly be educated on the other cultures of the world until you actually get out of get out of where you live or where you were born. Um, for me, like, I definitely value being open to growth very highly, because everything when I was going to high school, like I was around a lot of diverse individuals, a lot of different ethnic groups, and I heard different perspectives from different people about their personal life, about their views and takes on the world. And then I shared my views and takes, and then we actually, came to um, a realization that we wanted the same thing, but we wouldn't have come to that realization had I never met them, or had I never been put in an environment where I would have had to think outside of the box. Um, but I feel like this also does is when you also don't, when you aren't open to growth and when you stay sheltered, I feel like it makes you more anxious and have more anxiety to actually go out and see new people, because you're so afraid of what the what the other parts of the world are gonna bring to you. And I don't really want I don't want that. I know you don't want that. Everybody should want to not be afraid of the unknown. If aliens came down to Earth, like I heavily believe that we would all like turn on them, though, because like I said, people are kind of dumb like that, though. Instead of us being like open to, oh, it's a new species and they might not want to fight, I feel like we would all turn on them, though. And I feel like that would be a result of just a lot of people are so used to where they're from, they don't want to seek change. I mean, the human race and overall does not like change, but I am a strong proponent of that. If we cannot learn to change, then things will stay the same, or they won't really progress. We'll just keep going in a circle. And yeah, you may think things are changing, but they aren't, because we're not really evolving out of our current state of being or our current state of mind. So that's really all I have to say on that. But that's why it's my favorite value. Is definitely like my top one. There aren't many other ones that like really top that value of mine. And you'll also hear me like say that if you've asked me like what my favorite value is in person, you also hear me say that it's open to growth, because I feel like there is, to me, besides perseverance, there is no other greater value than being open to growth. That is the ultimate value of learning. So, and with that, I'm going to get into a new artist. As you know, in my previous episodes, I've always introduced, or I've kind of mentioned like new artists. First time I did this was with Hobo Johnson. The second time was J Electronica. So this time is a girl that is from Newark, New Jersey, and her name is Leah Janae. I kind of found her out when I was searching on YouTube, and then I found like an interview with I don't know if it was with Ebro or with Sway. Oh no, it was with shoot, can't think of his name. Big Boy. Yeah. And she was brought on essentially just to have an interview, because she was actually a finalist on the Four, which is like a singing competition very similar to American Idol and other talent-based shows that broadcast on TV. And she was a finalist on there, and she really can sing. Like, she has like an amazing voice. She's 17 years old. Also, if you're wondering how to spell her name, it's Leah, and then her last name is Jeneah. And she put out a mixtape called Leah Meets Nina, which I feel like is a very good take on like coming out as a new artist, because it's a unique project though, to say to the world like, yeah, I can sing, and you better watch out because I'm coming for like the number one spot like in R&B and hip hop and stuff. So yeah, she's doing it. Also, I don't know if you guys know who this hip hop group is, but she's being mentored by Naughty by Nature, which, if you know the song Hip Hop Hooray, which is basically like a hip hop anthem, they're like an old school group. You should also go check them out. But if you're into like old school rap and hip hop from like the 80s, but yeah, she's being mentored by them. And I feel like there's a lot of great things. I definitely can see her making like some really great music. Um, so yeah, but yeah, the album or the mixtape Leah Meets Nina, essentially she took a lot of Nina Simone's like classic songs, and then she expounded upon them with her own viewpoints on what Nina Simone was talking about, which I feel like is really great. Like, what artist is really doing that except for like, I mean, we had Jay-Z, which sampled Nina Simone for the story of OJ, but like, what young person do you see like sampling a great singer like Nina Simone? Like, that's just genius. Like, I don't see anybody doing that. And she's not really she's gotten attention, but she definitely needs more attention. So like I said, you guys should definitely check out her YouTube page and Instagram if you're interested. And yeah. Yep, so that's really all I wanted to say. I know this was a pretty lengthy and in-depth episode, but I'm glad that you guys stuck around, if you did stick around. Just so you know, just some business stuff on the side. So you can find this podcast on YouTube every Saturday at 9 a.m. It is now available on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and a few other platforms that aren't really that big, but it's on those as well. And it is going to be out today, Thursday, April 11th, sometime probably in the afternoon or early in the morning, depending on when it gets uploaded. But it's also going to be on SoundCloud if you want to check it out on there as well. But with that, there will be more conversations at another time, at another date, at another place. And I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week, or Thursday, or whatever day you're listening to this on. I hope to see you then, and I'll talk to you guys later.